All right, folks, here we are, Friday edition. We kick it off, and Congressman Mike Kelly will join us momentarily. Of course, Obama appointing a czar today to oversee Ebola. He yesterday was asked about that and said, yeah, well, we may need a czar. So I guess he picked up a book and went on the first list. A guy with no experience in the medical field whatsoever, former chief of staff to Joe Biden. All right, we're going to get to Congressman Mike Kelly. Let's watch this from yesterday's congressional hearing.
Right now, we know who's coming in. If we try to eliminate travel, the possibility that some will travel overland, will come from other places, and we don't know that they're coming in, will mean that we won't be able to do multiple things. We won't be able to check them for fever when they leave.
Do we not have, if I can interrupt you just for a second, do we not have a record of where they've been before, i.e. a passport or travel status as they travel from one country to another?
Borders can be porous, especially, may I finish?
It's like you're ruining my train of thought here, my rehearsed answer. Could I please finish here? Welcome, folks. And as promised by Congressman Mike Kelly, Republican, Pennsylvania, Ways and Means Committee member, is with us. He's written to the President, to the White House. And, Congressman, you could react to that and also to the announcement today of the Ebola czar.
Yes, well, you know, we've had these conversations before, Steve, with Dr. Frieden, and I wish he had the same passion for banning Ebola as he does for banning the big soda drinks in New York. I mean, that I think right now you look at your priorities and think, I think there's more important things. I think there was something very telling in what the doctor said when he talked about the travel and he talked about porous borders. Isn't that what we've been talking about for years now, about securing our borders and not having people the ability to come in almost anywhere? We've got big borders. People coming in that could not only bring a different view of the way the country should be run, but also bring in disease. If we don't control our borders, we lose control on all of these things. So, listen, we are at a Paul Revere moment, and we've talked about this before. We need to know. That message needs to be out there. I don't care if it's 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, how about 3 if by air? We better make sure that we're doing the right thing at the right time. The other concern I have, and we have a call into Dr. Piot, the Belgian scientist who discovered this Ebola disease to begin with. He says this is a different strain. So I'm waiting to have a really important conversation with him about how we would prevent it, how we would contain it. I do believe this. There has to be a global, multinational coalition and a global strategy of how we're going to fix this. This is really, we need to talk about a global village right now. Listen, while we're concerned about American citizens, and I am, that's my utmost concern right now, we better understand that we've got to make sure that the whole world is involved with this and that they're not only just involved, but they're also picking up the tab. I'm tired of the American taxpayer, hardworking American taxpayers, picking up the tab for everything. Charity begins at home, but we got to get other people on board to curb this. This is a terrible disease, and I think one of the things that I think is absolutely essential when people talk about this, and I say to them, you don't have to worry about this, you don't have to worry about this. Really? Well, the government needs to stop acting as if it's absurd for people to fear a virus that liquefies their internal organs. This isn't a 48-hour flu. This is a disaster. This is so deadly. We can't sit back and say, I think we'll be okay in a couple of days. We won't. We have to have a really strong strategy, and that starts at the top with a very strong initiative. Bring the world together, have strong initiatives, and enforce those policies. Bioterrorism is the other part of this that I know you and I have talked before about this. I want you people to think about this. We have American citizens who have left our country and gone to other parts of the world to learn how to do horrible things. Come back home, blow themselves up in a mall, and take lives. Think about the job they could do, the harm they could inflict on the American people by bringing this deadly disease into our cities, into our schools, into our towns, and into our homes. Horrible, horrible.
Right. And the one case that came from Africa here had no symptoms on the plane, they tell us. And even if you have symptoms and you're ready to board a plane, you take Tylenol and the fever goes away. I mean, one of the people on the panel yesterday, I think it was Marsha Blackburn, quoted Frieden's own words, own writings from years ago, where he said, patients lie. They don't take their medicine when they say they do. They don't do this when they say they will. They lie. So how can we rely on the honesty and goodwill of people?
Well, we can't. And that's why we have to have oversight, and that's what Congress can do. The president doesn't need an act of Congress right now to protect the American people. There are rules, CDC rules, that were formed back in 2005 that would give the president the ability to make decisions right now, especially when it comes to travel and the fact that you can quarantine people for a very short period of time to really check and see if they're safe to come back in the country. I'm not, listen, I would be the last one to tell somebody you can't go there, but I would say this: you can go there, but you're not coming back until we know what's going on. The fact that we're even debating whether we need to ban this type of traffic is crazy.
Yeah, Congressman, always good to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
Congressman Mike Kelly, ladies and gentlemen. Up next, we'll talk about this and more with the Malzberg panel on Newsmax Television.